everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that'll have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. The Mighty Thor 373 from 1986, written by Walter Simonson, drawn by Sal Buscema. This is one of my absolute favorite covers of all time. This beautifully rendered image here of Thor, just his face, is to me, I have done so many things. This, every time I need inspiration, this cover, um it's beautiful. It is beautiful. I have so many fond memories. I don't know why this particular cover, out of all the Thor covers, out of all the Walter Simonson pieces, I'm a huge mark for Walter Simonson. Out of everything he's ever drawn, this cover I keep going back to. There is just something, the way he does this beard, the way, I mean, I could do 40 minutes just on this cover here. How absolutely wonderful, how absolutely glorious, how it's just, oh my goodness gracious. This is part of Marvel's 25th anniversary. Here, let's just look at it one more time here because I freaking love this cover. Oh my goodness. This here is a remastered version of that cover, colored by Steve Olaf. Um, and just, I don't think there's a wrong way to color this thing. It is just absolutely just gorgeous. Just the way the shade hits, and oh my goodness gracious, what an absolute beautiful cover this is. And as beautiful as that cover is, we do need to move on to the actual story. Sal Buscema does the art here, and Thor is leaving Asgard and returning back to Earth here. So, the gift of death. So, this is part of the Mutant Massacre era. I am covering all things X-Men related, but I am not there yet, so it's going to take me a while. So, I am ahead of the X-Men era here. So, all right. So here's our credits here with Walter Simonson as our writer, Sal Buscema as the art, and John Workman as always, the exquisite lettering of John Workman. Suddenly here you can see is something is happening here. Thor is hit by some kind of energy beam, and he says, "What weakness is this that assails my limbs? My hands shake as though with the palsy of age. Is this the attack of some unseen foe? Yet already the effect fades and it is gone. And as far as the eye can see, the heavens are devoid of life. Not an enemy to be seen," he says. Perhaps the imagination of Thor has become too restless a spirit, and the son of Odin might find benefit in less time spending fighting foes and more time spent in duller pursuits. I like this panel here. The cosmic storms that rage between Asgard and Earth since the destruction of the Rainbow Bridge have grown ever more fierce of late, but the hammer of Thor will prove their master. So, great panel here. And so, he goes through and kind of like a boom tube in a way, you could almost say here. So, all right, the veil is pierced, says Thor. Before me lies the great metropolis of New York, and in the Bay Ridge section of Brooklyn is the apartment wherein Thor resides under the name Sigurd Jarlson. Mjolnir has brought me home. Of course, we can see the twin towers there. And so Thor goes through and then uses Mjolnir. You can see like this tornado thing here, this vortex, um, and he was gonna go to Muspelheim, but then he comes back and says, "Incredible! The way to Muspelheim is closed. Even Mjolnir, whose power can conquer the raging cosmic storms, cannot breach the barriers of Surtur's realm. Is this the end of it? Shall Thor never know the fate of his royal sire? Odin, my father, am I abandoned for all time?" So, yeah. So, obviously, Thor now discovers he can't get there. Look at this, an apartment with just a mattress. I just find it funny that even in Brooklyn, Thor just walks up, not changed, just walks up to the apartment like nobody else is out there in broad daylight here. So, and I like it. Here within the apartment, all is exactly as I left. All what? All the mattress? So I never really established Cigar Jarlson's identity on Midgard, and now the emptiness herein mocks the very hollowness of my half-hearted endeavor. 'Tis but a skeleton of a home, not a home itself. I cannot remain here. The Avengers Mansion and its inhabitants would welcome me with open arms, but companionship is not my need, and I would not be fit company for anyone at this moment. And so you can see here the Chrysler Building. What boots pride in a power that can shake the universe when that power cannot disclose the answer to the riddle of my father's fate? So he sits there. Perhaps the night air will clear my head and give me respite, from such endless thoughts. And so he's all the way from there. He can see a mugging in Central Park here. So this guy and just Thor, he's like, uh-oh. And then he just drops the stuff. The cops take him away. Oh, if only it was that simple, right? And so he looks at the cops here and says, "These mortals risk their lives every day. They walk the streets of their city. In the end, death is always the answer to every question, and mortals bear it because they must. But death is not the answer for a god, and I will not rest till I have found the answers I seek." So now we go back to Midgard here, and look at that. They're using cranes just like humans do. Goodness gracious. That is awesome here. The superstructure is nearly finished, Heimdall. The great sheath will soon be ready for treasure. And Heimdall says, and none too soon. He's reading plans. It's just awesome. And none too soon. I, for one, shall be thankful when the weapon of such incalculable power is secured, safe from either harm or meddling. And so this is the sword of Surtur here that it looks like they are going to be hiding. And so these are the kids that were whose parents were killed in the previous issue. I have a playlist, by the way. I started covering all of Simonson's run from the very beginning, so feel free to check that out if you're interested in it. So, of course, Volstagg has been keeping an eye on them. He has adopted them here because, of course, their mom is no longer around. So Volstagg has a big belly and a big heart to go with that big belly here. So Thor decides, I gotta really work on this secret identity thing. So he's gonna go he worked at this construction site, so he's gonna go and see if he could get a job here. And of course the guy's like, "Hey, it's good to see you," and he'll hire him again, so you can see very happy. And he goes, "Hey, are you okay?" He looked a little down. He says, "My father recently passed away, I guess." And he's like, "Oh, that's real tough." And then he asks about the girl he saved way back in Thor 341. And then he's like, "It didn't work out either." So And so the guy invites him to have supper. And so, look at that, taking a break, smoking here. So, all right. And so he lives in a nice part of town because they've been living there for years. So they lived there before um, all the new people started and they're driving prices up. So and so he calls out for his wife, and there's his whole family here. So um, introduces them to Sigurd. These are all the kids. I'm not really gonna because they're not really important here. It's just kind of filler for the story, and so Thor sits kind of himself right at home, and you see this little kid, and Thor's bouncing him because the kids like screaming, and they're like, "Oh my God, what's happened?" And the kids, and as Thor, of course, he's big and strong, just kind of tossing him around here, and then they have supper. We're gonna get to the main part of the story right now. This is just a way of Simonson to show that Thor is longing for something a little bit more here. I love the thick brushes here. Sal Buscema, who is still alive, although John, his brother, is not here. Um, he continues, bonding with this family. Again, nothing too exciting has happened yet, but so back in Asgard here, one of the ravens comes here, bringing a feather to Balder, who is the king. Um, and he knows who this is, who that feather belongs to, and he says, "You have done well, and there may be a help for us all. Summon Heimdall Moonin quickly." And so, Heimdall, it almost seems like immediately, but he's here, and he says, "Watch over Asgard as you once watched over the Rainbow Bridge, Heimdall. Moonin has set a task before me that only I have any hope of achieving it. And if the fates are generous, I may succeed." So he gives up being king already, or not really gave up, but Heimdall is basically going to be in charge until Balder comes back. The next day, Thor is still with this family here, and you can see again he's just living this, um, you know, he's just wanting to belong here, and he's telling them a story of Thor that he had here, and this is of course Odin, whom he did not recognize at this time here. So we're again, this is just Thor telling a story, and um, remember Thor was a frog. Well, this is going to be really important here. So um, these frogs and these kids are like icky, and so um, they jump on frogs and they talk, and he understands them because hey, he was a frog, and says that some stuff is happening here. So he tells the kids, "Hey, I'll come back. I have to go somewhere here." So he takes out the hammer of Thor. He does reveal to them because hey, why not, that he is actually Thor, and or did he? Yeah, or he wished them. I don't know. He sent them anyway. Either way, again, it doesn't matter. And he is gonna go into down. So if you remember, we're going. This is part of the um. Oh goodness gracious, the Mutant Massacre. So he's down in the tunnels here, and there's Hela looking at Thor. Of course, she is still mad about Thor kind of besting her. And so she sits here as she watches. So, you still have hope, Thor. I shall cure that. Little do you suspect that your momentary weakness as you return to Earth was a gift from me. Shortly, thy potent spell will begin to take effect, and you shall begin to learn what hopelessness is really is. There are no shadows when there is no light. So, all right. So we are seeing here the dead Morlocks here, and suddenly, if you remember, I know we haven't covered it. We are going to get to it. The angel is being uh, basically tortured by the Marauders here, and so we have Harpoon and Blockbuster as they're ripping off his angels here. Oof. And so during this time, Walt Simonson was penciling X Factor, and his first issue was actually X Factor 10, which dealt with this. So it's kind of funny that he's writing about this. So he wanted to get Thor involved in this. So he, of course, hears the scream, and Thor's going to investigate here. And they're like, hey, Harpoon, look who's here. And so he thinks it's another mutant. And so when they come, the Marauders attack. So we got Blockbuster, Harpoon, Riptide. I think this is Riptide here. And they're attacking Thor. And Thor is like, I say thee nay. And hits the lightning here. And the Marauders run away here. And he looks here and sees poor Angel stuck to the wall. Which is, of course, going to lead to Angel becoming Archangel. Well, yeah. No, I think it's Archangel. I'm so sorry. Anyway, Apocalypse is going to turn him into Death. And then he becomes Archangel. So, something like that. So, he says, oh, he's still alive. So, gently, I must remove the spikes that pin him to the wall and lift him down. And then he hears, hark, the sound of footsteps approaching behind me. Methinks the Marauders have gotten over their first fright and returned to finish the job. Doubtless they will seek to slay Thor as well. And this ends here with this wonderful, wonderful page here. Come on, bold assassins, you shall find the Son of Odin waiting for you in the dark. But they will learn that evil walks in the same shadows as the good. So, next issue, Fire in the Night. So, yeah, this is just really, really, really good stuff here. So, oh my goodness, I grew up on this stuff. This is my era of stuff here. So, all right, here we go. So, Thor 373, written by Walter Simonson, drawn by Sal Buscema. Like and subscribe. I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.